I noticed that there is like this gap forming between the main body and the screen of my iPhone 6s. And I was looking it up on the internet, and it seems this had to do with battery bloating. And it's true that my battery was not holding a lot of charge. So what I did was I got this screwdriver set off of Kijiji, which is like an internet for sale thing, for $10, and I then started a search for an iPhone 6s battery. And I did find someone who was going to sell it to me for $25 that was far away. But then I tried a local cell phone store, and they were actually willing to sell one for me for $35. So after tax, that was $40. So I guess that's a little bit influenced because I saw some videos about doing this, and there's two sort of camps about doing these battery changes. Where one where they will attempt to disconnect everything on the screen module and then take it off the phone, and then another camp that just sort of deals with the screen being up. It seemed to me like it would be a lot easier to just leave the screen up. So what I did is I put these rubber bands on this bottle, and I have this silicone mat here. And the idea is everything's supposed to stay in one place, and I can like go ahead and do everything without having to take all those ribbon cables off the back. I think in the case of the 6S, they all fit down like they're hinged at the back, so you can do this. There's a 5C, I can't remember, but I'm guessing a lot of these iPhones are designed so you can kind of flip them up like this, and then change the battery out. In the 5C, the battery was very heavily cemented in. Actually, this was done by a cell store. This particular battery had been changed by a cell store. So I did the usual pulling out the battery with the strips method. But right here, I was trying to remove the terminal for the battery, and it wasn't really coming off. So I decided what I was going to do was pull the battery out and then sort of grab it as the battery is coming up, and it'd be easier to get out. So I'm not a person who likes to throw things out, although sometimes in the 80s, the technology wasn't really where I needed to be. But it's true that my parents keep giving me their phones. So this 6S I've been using mostly to do video recording. And it's convenient because I didn't want to upgrade the OS, because this is the last OS that would allow you to take footage and then just directly upload it from photos to a Samba server without complaining. In the later versions of iOS, what I have to do was I'd have to save it to files on my phone. I'd have to create a zip archive, copy it to Tab Media File Manager, and then do a web sync on that zip file, and then I could get the payload of all the files back onto my PC. The iPhone 6S also featured sort of a touch-sensitive screen, so you could do sort of Wacom-ish painting if you really wanted to. I've never really done it myself. Well, this was a non-Apple battery, but I was just trying to demonstrate it's bloated. It seemed to me that yes, it is bloated in the middle, and I wanted, although it wasn't completely dead, I didn't want to permanently deform the face, so I decided is best to be cautious and get rid of that battery. So I was trying to fit the battery in before I had pulled the adhesive mask off to see how it was going to fit. And it seemed to me the first one was flush with the bottom, and you got to have the battery fit into that rectangle so it's not going to be overlapping something. And when I actually put it in, I think I put it in just a little bit vertically, the longitudinal way of the phone, a little bit up, but the idea is that there's like a little wire sort of cable thing, which where the terminal for the battery actually connects into that spot there. And you're probably better off being more up than down, because you can squish it in the vertical direction, but you can't make it longer in the vertical direction. I'm not sure. I think it's probably the way they designed it, but it all worked out. But that's the thing that I probably should have been more careful about at this point is that battery terminal lining up, because it's really essential that that's going to fit into the little square. So after I did insert the battery and it was, started glued in place, I began to sort of panic that maybe it wasn't quite the battery wasn't quite in the right place. I was having a lot of trouble pushing it down. But what I eventually did was I put a good amount of force inward in the short direction of the phone, and it eventually popped into place. You got two directions there, two Cartesian sort of axis there, and it was looking pretty good in one of them, but the other one wasn't. So I don't know. It hopefully I got it in without damaging the cable, but I did push it in a little bit inwards towards the battery. So I'll spare going through all the footage, but what happened here was I was trying to put this battery terminal plate back on, and it turns out that the two screws, one of them is longer than the other screw, and I didn't really notice that at the time. So I eventually figured out that was the problem, and I switched them, and then I was able to put them back on again. So at this point, I decided to try to turn the phone on. I guess it wouldn't really turn on unless the battery had some sort of power, and it actually did. It's like 40% power. That's actually kind of dangerous because I was just moving around that connector to try to put it in, and it would have been live. So I could have shorted at least the battery out, but oh well, it worked out. So this kit of screwdrivers, there's only a few bits of interest, and the one that you definitely need is the Star Profile 0.8 millimeters to do those screws I'm doing right now. Otherwise, you can probably get away with it without the screwdriver set, but I used a very small Phillips screwdriver. So what happened here was I decided that I forgot to really push the battery down all over the place, and that was going to be a bad thing since I had gone through the trouble of lining up the adhesive strip. In the 5C battery, it didn't come with the adhesive strip, although I think it was just hugged in so good that it just isn't going anywhere in the case of the 5C, but you are supposed to use adhesive strips. So what I did was I took it apart, I pushed it down again, and then I cleaned off the battery with a cloth so that my finger oils wouldn't be on the battery, hopefully. So the iPhone 6s dies another day. Thanks for watching.